Good morning and welcome back. Well, aren't I the lucky one? I am sitting here right now with Shelly Skinner Noel and Anne Cayenne. I said that
Kenyon,
right.
yeah.
Kenyon. Okay. So today we are discussing the celebration of 25 years of, it is Kumon, right? I always get nervous when I say it because when I drive by, I'm like, come on, but Kumon, which is Japanese style of learning in origin, has been in the Sioux for 25 years, but Shelly's just letting me know it's a worldwide educational tool that's been, implemented everywhere for 62 years now. Welcome, ladies. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for making time. So, Shelly, you've been the operator now for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me. How did you first become involved?
We were just sharing that. My son was in grade 1 and changed from the French to the English system.
Okay.
And I reached out to friends and I found Kumon. So that was like over 10 years ago when I did that. He was so successful in reading. He caught right up. I put him in the math program at the time as well. And then fast forward 10 years, I was a teacher for 20 years, and fast forward, and all of a sudden, someone told me it was for sale.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that would be awesome. Just with all of my background, and I thought it would be just a perfect fit, and it ended up being a perfect fit.
Well, and I mean, especially if you think of it in terms of something that has brought success to your son, what a wonderful opportunity to bring something that you can believe in so concretely, so passionately. So I do want to talk about COVID, certainly, because that has had an effect in my own personal household. And I did speak to your assistant because what they are identifying now at a governmental level are learning gaps, right? Yes. You take specific cohorts of children, like my daughter, for example, was in SK when the lockdown started happening. And, whereas an older child is able to pivot relatively effectively to online, not so with youngs, right? So are you finding an increase in people accessing your services to help get their kids caught up? Because I paid out of pocket for a tutor. I didn't even think about Kumon, but I am thinking about it now.
Yeah, that was awesome when we saw that email. Yeah, big time, like a huge learning gap, especially I have people coming in saying that they didn't do any of the online learning.
Yeah.
So that means that they're a year and a half maybe behind and
Yes.
they didn't do the work, and parents are working and they don't have that opportunity to homeschool them that they need it.
And not everybody's a teacher, right?
No.
I have found that if I'm honest about my skill set, I can do a lot of things and I sure can talk. I'm not a very patient teacher. And what was happening with my daughter is she was starting to feel, and it's hard on the teachers as well, right? So I think that there was some level of frustration on all sides, and I will never apportion blame.
No.
But she was becoming nervous about what she didn't know, right?
Oh, okay.
We have a brilliant teacher this year who has really made great strides, but okay, so Anne, now tell me a little bit about your success story. We do have Valentina, a very lovely and intelligent young woman here in the studio, and we will pop her up despite my producer challenging me. You might not be able to hear her, but you're going to see her. Talk to me about your experience.
Well, with Valentina, she started Kumon back in 2018, so it was that grade 1 mark, so the early years of learning.
Okay.
And the reason we looked for Kumon, it's because Valentina was always the shy kid.
Okay.
And she was struggling starting with the reading. She was learning to read, and she had a hard time just building that confidence to engage and learn. And talking to a friend who had the child in Kumon for a few years already, she sweared by it. And then sure enough, like the academics for Valentina, for my husband and I, is our priority.
Okay.
So we started with the reading,
Yes.
and it was amazing to see the progress. And one thing I always emphasize with Shelly, and I want to make sure to let the other parents know too, for Valentina, it was not just the progress academically. She does the reading and the math now. But it was the self-confidence.
Oh, wonderful.
For her to be at school and socialize and be so confident. We were talking earlier about COVID. Valentina went through this pandemic so far very confidently and not worry about anything. So
Yeah.
we fortunately didn't feel this pressure that a lot of parents did.
Oh, well, that's, you know what, fantastic. You know, and you talked about, you know, your son transitioning from French to English. I am having to make that choice because my youngest is in French. I did go through French immersion. My eldest is in French immersion. I'm struggling. I'm not sure what the right choice is in this moment because, you know, when a child is trying so hard to catch up, is it really fair to ask them to catch up in 2 languages, right? So, yes, so I see many zesty and robust conversations between Shelly and I in the near future. What else would you like people to know in these last moments of our conversation, Shelly?
Well, with the COVID, Kumon has changed to a totally online program, and a lot of people are a little bit anxious about online.
Okay.
But our online is very different than school.
Okay.
So it's so we've totally adapted it. Kumon Canada has totally adapted an online program where before the pandemic it didn't exist.
Right.
So it's kind of neat how that's evolved, and you know, with the younger kids, it's one-on-one online, and it's like they have one-on-one assistants in front of them.
Wow.
And it's all through Zoom. So I think that's just a different option for people that are still maybe anxious about going into different places.
Yeah, and everybody's at different places in terms of bouncing back from the pandemic. So I think that's very important information. So the fastest way for people to contact you in this moment, Shelly?
It's probably my website. If you search Kumon, Sault Ste. Marie, you'll find the website. They can book appointments that way.
Okay.
We're also on Facebook.
Okay, and as well as a part of any in-studio interview, I will be writing an article, so I'll be sure to include links so that you can contact Shelly and her team very expediently and efficiently, because I think that, you know, with the best interests of all of our children at the forefront of our minds, giving them every tool possible as we all move forward from what we've just come through is of critical importance, and I certainly see the work that you do as being so important. So before we go to Craig, I want to bring Valentina up here. Do you want to come up, love? And just give us a thumbs up, okay? No, come on, no, come up.
Behind Mom.
They love it when I do this. Hi, Mike. Mike's the producer. This is Valentina, and she has done such a great job. She has distinguished herself. So can you show us with your hands what you think about Kumon? There you go.